Unfortunately, our friend Sergio Perez is falling into the same mental battles that Valtteri Bottas did, and it's not looking good. Sergio Perez just announced recently that he's working with a sports psychologist, something exactly Bottas did when he was fighting Hamilton at Mercedes. But the only problem is these sports psychologists maybe work for other sports, but not for racing. They drag you down. They make you think more and more about it. The thing about racing is it's not a lot about thinking. It's about driving on the very edge of the limit and just knowing instinctively you know how to finish the corner, what to do on the straight, how to overtake, how to hit these exact points to make sure your qualifying session and racing is correct. Now, Sergio Perez also has to understand he's against Max Verstappen. Now, he had a good start to this season. I was even one of the people who were like, man, maybe he does have a challenge or a chance at just challenging Max Verstappen. After the first two races, he was like 1 point behind because Max had a fastest lap over him at one of the Grand Prix. But the problem with him is not essentially the racing, but what he does in qualifying, so he has to mess up his race. If you qualify 15th or you don't even get out of, like, you make a crash at Monaco like he did, you have to essentially play catch up for the entire race. If this guy just had qualifying sessions where he could have gotten into like the top 5, we're not even asking for much. We're not talking about a pole position. We're not talking about second. We're not talking about third. Just the top 5. He has the car and the ability to get around these guys. The Red Bull is so freaking fast. And unfortunately, I feel like he's going down this road of like, oh, I'm the number 2 driver now. I need to figure things out. You just have to become obsessed. You got to remember, every second Max Verstappen is not in the Formula 1 cockpit, he's constantly on sims, racing. I mean, Max makes his entire life about racing. You don't see that guy out doing anything. It's racing, racing, racing. If what he wants to get done is accomplish better qualifying and racing results, he's got to get away from the psychiatrist thing that's not going to help him out in racing and just fully commit 24/7. Every ounce of your attention span, every ounce of thought and intellect is just pushed into racing, no matter how many hours you have to do it. The only problem is he's going to start self-indulging himself in these negative results. He has to show up at Spa, start doing great in qualifying, and just get in there. Remember Rubens Barrichello to Michael Schumacher. He was not the number 1 driver. He understood that and got race wins and stayed in the top team. Sergio Perez has to do one of two things at this point. He must either completely accept he's the number 2 driver, who will never win the championship, will pick up race wins, great results, get paid a lot of money to race, or he has to completely immerse himself in trying to beat Max Verstappen. And to that point, he might destroy himself, but it doesn't really matter because how much time does he have left in Formula 1? Like, even if he puts in these great results, they said after 2024, they want to install a team that was like Senna and Prost back in the heydays. If you don't know about it, those were like the 2 best drivers together at the best team. Now, he's going to get rid of at 2024, and he'll probably not go to any team that can really, like, give him a chance. I mean, he's not going to transition to Ferrari after that. They want someone who'll be younger, who'll be hungrier to get those results. So this is his chance. You have the rest of this season, this half of this season, and the whole next season. Now, recover your confidence. Do everything you can to start getting results perfectly, and then just be consistent. If you're just consistent, at least you can stay within a gap. The problem is he demoralizes himself by getting like a no points finish and then like a 7th and 8th, and then all of a sudden Max Verstappen has the 75-point advantage, and you're like, Max Verstappen is so consistent that even if he somehow doesn't win the race, he'll come in 2nd and 3rd, and I have no chance at winning the championship even if he doesn't win every single race. This is what he's got to start doing. Get next to Max, maintain a certain point difference between you, so if something happens to his car, or, I mean, the thing is, and you know what, I digress here because think about how much pressure Max was under against Lewis Hamilton. People will tell you that Mercedes car was not as fast as the Red Bull. Bullshit. That Mercedes car was so much better than the Red Bull, not only for the first half of the season, but the last 4 or 5 races. That was a completely different Mercedes in 2021. And Max had to stay consistent under the most enormous and immense pressure. So this is a guy, I think this is a once-in-an-era person that you can't even put pressure on and he'll make mistakes. I mean, even Michael, you could pressure into a mistake. He felt like he needed to take you out if you got too close to him. But Max is just not like that. He doesn't feel the pressure. So I really don't think in the end that this psychologist, the sports psychologist, is really going to change anything about Sergio Perez. And what he should really be looking for is to just lay his mark, win a couple more races, maybe try and win the Mexican Grand Prix. But trust me, going down this psychological thing, we saw this with Bottas. All it does is enhance negative emotions and make you more fragile when you're on the track, thinking more, while you should just be, it should almost be like an outer body experience. When you're going that fast, you can't think super quickly. You just have to roll with it. And doing the psychology thing is making you think about the negative too much and will not impact him. If you guys disagree with this, let me know in the comments. I will respond. But I do not think a sports psychologist is a good thing for a racing driver. Maybe somebody who's going through emotional and psychological problems in real life, but this is a sport, and this is one of the highest, most dangerous sports that you could ever enter into.